did react to the game yesterday. I'm not sure how much there is going to be, but we'll see. And first up is Spurs Express with quotes from Dejan Kulusveski, and he says, everyone must take responsibility. The people above us, the players, the managers, nobody can hide in the corner. And yep.
Another player calling out the board, really?
Yeah, and more players need to keep calling out the board because they're the ultimate reason why we're in this mess.
It's mad, though. The first time it's happened, really. Apart from Rose.
Yeah, and it should be happening on a more regularity.
There is no reason. You got Romero, you got Son.
Yep.
I mean, obviously they're not direct. I mean, this is fairly direct. Everyone must take this. I mean, not many players mention, the people above us. Quite significant.
Players are starting to wake up and speak out, and that's what we need. We need more of it.
Yeah, they need to put pressure. We need to be doing our job this window, and that's getting the players to help us because we desperately need it.
Halfway through January, we've brought in a keeper, fair enough, but we need a lot more than that. We need a lot more than that to salvage anything from this season. Next up is THFC Himothy. Says, I saw Ben from WeAreTottenhamTV talk about pre-season compared to now, and he was spot on. The youngsters, the second half team, always looked way better than the first team in the first half. We all said that the first team would get back on it. They never did. The youngsters are better.
Well, I mean, right now they are 100%. Bergvall, Gray are the only ones really stepping up for the team and actually playing with confidence and, being leaders on the pitch. The senior players have got a lot to answer for, 100%. I completely agree with that.
Spurs Express bringing us facts from Squawker, saying this is Tottenham's joint most losses at this stage in a single campaign in this competition. Also 11 in 97-98, 03-04 and 08-09. Yeah. 11 losses in 21 league games so far this season is dreadful.
Yeah, it's shocking.
Spurs Watch just says, my word, 21 games, 7 wins, 3 draws, 11 losses, 43 goals, 32 conceded, plus 11 goal difference. Has anyone been in this situation with plus 11 goal difference?
We must be the only team to ever be in this position with a plus 11 goal difference. Classic Spurs.
Spurs Watch says, Tottenham have now lost more games than Ipswich Town in the Premier League this season. And that is mad. That is mad. How the hell have we lost more than Ipswich, who only just recorded their second win of the season?
It's crazy. It is crazy the amount of losses we've had. It's nuts.
This next one's Squawker, which we just spoke about, so we'll go on to the next one. This is Lily White Rose bringing up tweets from some Arsenal fans yesterday, which I found quite interesting. This one says, by the way, Archie Gray is going straight to the top. The next one says, Archie Gray is a brilliant footballer. He's definitely going a long way. This one says, Archie Gray will be on the plane to USA next year. And this next one, shout out to Archie Gray. Shame he's one of them, but he's some player.
Yeah, and I think it's hard to ignore the talent of Archie at the moment because he's such a brilliant talent. I really think he's stepping up so well considering the circumstances, and he's got an unbelievable head on his shoulders. I think you see that every game, and yeah, brilliant stuff from him.
Christian says 110 million spent on Richarlison and Brennan Johnson, 110 million spent on 2 players who are at teams fighting for survival. That's why Tottenham are where they are. You recruit from the bottom half of the table, and eventually that's where you'll end up.
See, I don't agree with that. I'll tell you why, because if we were to decide Cunha, he's bottom half of the table. Does that mean he's not good enough?
I do think, I get what you're saying, but I mean, if you only recruit from these kind of level of teams, then maybe that's where you end up. If you sprinkle one or here, like the top players that are going really far in the game, are Richarlison and Brennan Johnson and these kind of players that?
No. But I also think it's like
a Declan Rice, like a Cunha, are these players on the same level?
We're not going to be competing for these kind of players. The top players right now, the way we are, they're not going to come to us. The current, so you have to be clever. You have to be smart about it.
But is that clever?
What?
Spending 110 million on Richarlison and Brendan Johnson?
Maybe not those who specifically, but it's not because they're in those teams that is not clever. I think that argument is not true, in my opinion. You can argue the actual player, Richarlison and Brennan, that's fair enough. But just saying because they play for bottom half teams, that means you'll become one. I just don't agree with that. I think there is value to be had in these teams. And I think there is value. There is players that were very good there in these teams.
Apollo brings us a clip of Kinski yesterday, this back heel.
This guy, balls of steel. That was after probably all the mishaps he had in the first half. So He goes to show it just doesn't let it affect him. He's still doing a back heel inside his own box after that happened. And that's even after as well. He does a back heel, right? I think most keepers, when that ball bobbles up against his hand, they panic and they probably just boot it out or something. But he still has the calmness after that happens to back heel it and find a man. I mean, it's mental. The balls are still on this guy.
Next up, Squawker. Most Premier League goals scored in North London derbies. Harry Kane 14, Adebayor and Son joint on 8, Perez 7, Bale, Henry and Van Persie on 5. So Sonny has moved in to joint second in goals scored in the North London derby.
Yeah, fair play. Look, he does usually score provide in this fixture, so fair play to him. Done it again.
StatMuse says Son Heung-min scores 27th goal versus the Big Six in the Premier League. Only 2 current players have more, and that is Mo Salah on 48 and Jamie Vardy on 44.
Oh, Vardy, mad. Always turns up in those big games.
He does, yeah.
But fair play to Sonny.
Carly on you Spurs saying this is what led to the goal, and it was just never a corner.
It's so obviously not a corner though. Like I don't understand how
we all saw it. We all saw it.
Yeah,
as
but
well.
He's looking right at it. Look at the ref. He's actually looking right at it. So how can you not see that touch of Trossard? It just doesn't make any sense.
Look, at the end of the day,
no sense.
At the end of the day, regardless of decisions here, decisions there, you reap what you sow. And we definitely did that yesterday.
No, I don't disagree. But on the flip side as well, this game was fine margins, and one of the big avenues that Arsenal were getting joy was from corners. And so to give them a corner just before half time, when it could have been a goal kick, if we go into half time 1-0 as opposed to how it went, I don't think they go 2-1 up if that corner is a goal kick potentially. So that does change the game state completely.
StatMuse says current players with the most in North London derby goals. Son on 7, Bukayo Saka on 3. Has Saka only scored 3 North London derby goals?
One of them was at the stadium early in the last season. Mm-hmm. He got a brace. He got 3 last year because he got a brace. Didn't he? 1 deflection.
And that was the only time he scored against us.
Was it an own goal from Romero?
Own goal Romero.
And then he got a penalty. And then he got 1 in the Tottenham stadium last year. Or did he get 2?
I always thought Saka scored more.
I think he's got a few assists. He keeps taking the corners for the bloody goals. That's true. Thing.
Apollo says Bissouma just placed Spence first time, bro.
Yeah, I know. Oh my God, just come on, Bissouma, easy pass.
Aina saying putting out a missing poster for Yang Min-hyuk because we saw him on the bench at Liverpool. We were having those conversations before the Liverpool game. You go, I've got a sneaky feeling Yang Min-hyuk's gonna have a big set, have a part to play in the game today. Didn't come on and hasn't been in a squad since.
I think obviously Mikey Moore's returned since then, so maybe that he's taken his spot. But it's a shame because maybe there was a bit because it looked like before the Liverpool game that he was in training and there were videos of him scoring goals in training and then he was on the bench. I'm like, okay, maybe he's impressing, but it seems as though he's still got a lot of work to do.
Spurs papers saying Postecoglou has lost 11 of 21 games. That's a loss every 1.9 games. That's worse than Spurs relegation in 76-77. It's the worst since 34-35, 90 years ago. Only one season in Spurs' entire history is worse, and that is 1912-13.
I mean, it's not good reading, that's for sure.
Like, when you read that, I mean... Yeah, you can talk about painful rebuilds and stuff like that, but are you saying that we haven't had a rebuild in that long? Like, we've had rebuilds, you know what I mean? So, I mean, why should this rebuild be any more painful than all the other rebuilds that we've had?
I don't know, but maybe it is.
But why?
Don't know. I can't answer that question. I don't know why it's more painful, or maybe It's hard. It's hard to know why exactly. Maybe he's not doing a good enough job, Ange. Obviously, it comes to him as well. But I think there's also circumstances to why the form has been that bad. But we shouldn't be in the situation we are now. But I don't think we should be sacking him right now over it.
Sam W says we have been strategically atrocious from top down post Poch. Ange's arrival significantly semblance of
signified.
What is all these long words? I don't even know what any of these means. signified a semblance of coherency, vision for the first time in years, so he forgive me for backing him, but right now we are reaping what we've sowed for the last 5 years.
And that's, he says, that's in response to, he says, 13th feels like a direction the club has been heading in if it wasn't for Kane and Son.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that.
Which I do think is true, and I don't think we've done well anywhere near enough succession planning and all these different things, and they've been carrying us for a while, and now we're not allowing them to carry us anymore, and now we are where we are. We shouldn't be in 13th though. I do believe that, but I also do believe that is true. Like, that's where we've kind of been heading. If it wasn't for Kane and Son, it would just kept us afloat in those years. But I also don't believe the squad right now, that what it is, should be in this position.
Where do you think, like, the squad right now, in terms of where we should be? Where should we be?
We should be in that top 6 conversation for sure. I said before the season, top 4. I probably underestimated how much everyone else around has improved, because clearly you got all these middle teams now who have massively improved, and you got to give credit to that. But I still think we should be in that top 6 conversation for sure. We should not be where we are.
Yeah. Mr. Black says, losing to a team 10 places higher than us in the league, with 5 of our starting 11 missing away, with getting an equaliser through a corner they shouldn't have had. That's where you're drawing the line, and that's in response to Talk THFC. That should really be it for you, Ange. It won't be though. I mean, this tweet from Mr. Black, I mean, he's talking about that game in isolation, about losing to Arsenal, which is fair enough, but I mean, you got to look at everything involved. You're looking at where we are in the league, how we're keeping dropping week by week. The stats that we spoke about before, like the worst in this bloody century. You know what I mean? It's just like everything all in all together. I mean, when is the line going to be drawn? Where does he draw the line? Where do you draw the line? Where does everyone draw the line? Like, lines need to be drawn at some point.
Yeah, as I've said, I think obviously if this form, if we lose the next 2 games, then a serious conversation does have to be had, because that's, I mean, we're already in this situation now, but once we get players back and this form continues and we go out all the cups, and we're still in the same situation in the league in terms of just losing, and then we're out of all the cups, and we actually need like a firefighter manager to save the situation, then I think that's when it really changes for me. But right now,
is available.
Yeah, right now I don't think we're there yet. We're not in Dyche territory just yet. But if it ever does get there, then we do need to have a serious conversation.
Would you say if we lose to Everton and Leicester, we're in Dyche territory?
No, I still wouldn't say that. We're not in Dyche territory there.
Kane from the lane saying, it is crazy to say Bergvall should be our long-term answer as the 6.
He said, is it crazy? Question.
Is it crazy? Yeah.
Is it crazy? I don't know. I think he is more of an 8 naturally, but he's done brilliantly in the 6, I have to say. And the fact that he can play there is a great option. Is he a long-term solution then? Mate, he might be. I mean, he might be. I don't think it's crazy, considering how he's played there. I just think it would be a shame if he is there, if you know what I mean, because I just think having him a bit closer, you saw what he did against Liverpool, a bit closer to goal. He's got brilliant finishing as well. I just think if you take that away from him, that would be a bit of a shame. Like, I think you want him a bit more in that middle. So I think it's great that he can play there, but I don't know if long term he should be there all the time. Not because he can't do it, just because I'll be ashamed to take that other element away from him. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's clear to see that Bissouma's not fit for purpose for that position, for what we need on a regularity. Can you trust Bentancur as well with, injury after injury? Can you rely on him?
I think short term maybe he has to be.
Yeah, I'd agree with short term, but we're talking about like long term here. Like we need to bring in like a monster 6 that we've been craving for the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Craig Pankhurst says, if Ange wants to survive, I honestly think he needs to change the leadership group and who wears the armband. I mean, everyone talks about leadership and who has the armband on. The reality is, no matter if you have the armband or not, you should be showing signs of leadership. I think Kulusveski has done to a certain extent this season. But, I mean, I look at what do people want from a leader? What does that even look like on the pitch? I don't even know. Because like those days of like the Roy Keanes and the John Terrys and And, you know, these kind of leaders, they're not in the game. Like, who has a leader like that anymore?
Yeah, I agree with you. Look at Arsenal's captain, Odegaard. He's not exactly like... I'm not saying he's a bad leader. I'm just saying he's not exactly like a Roy the Rovers kind of figure, is he? Look at Man City. Who's their captain at the moment? It was Gundogan, but I don't know who it is now. But again, he's
Is it
not...
De Bruyne?
Is it De Bruyne? But he's not... I mean, yeah, he'll call out players, but so I've seen some call out players as well on the pitch. People just don't notice it because, you know, he's got that... people consider him just as happy-go-lucky guy, always with a smile, but he definitely has that streak in him as well, Sonny. So... I don't know. Clearly, we have a problem on the pitch when things are going against us. Like yesterday, you know, we can see that corner, and then there's no one kind of just making sure we see it to half time at 1-0. We just allow it to collapse, and that is there's definitely a problem for us at the moment when things are going against us. We can't seem to stem the tide, and that comes to key figures. I think first of all, the mentality of the team, but also key figures in that leadership group. Either not being very good leaders, like not being able to do it, or not kind of putting out the right messages when we are in that kind of moment, because clearly we do have a problem with that. But
if you think that you're just going to magically put the armband on someone else and things are going to change, I think that's a deluded take.
Exactly, because I think people like Deki and Solanke's also becoming a bit of a leader in that team at the moment. They're like, just because they're not wearing the armband, I don't think Deki is like, I'm not the captain, so I'm not going to say how I feel. I'm pretty sure he does. You know what I mean? So I don't think just who's wearing the armband changes too much.
Mr. Alex THFC says we're 8 points away from the relegation zone. We are 14 points away from the top 4. West Ham are above us. They sacked their manager and are above us by 2 points. Fulham are 6 points above us. Forest are 17 points above us. We are in a relegation battle. Wake up. This guy is not a Premier League manager. He is terrible. Doesn't matter what players he has at his disposal. He is not cut out for it. We won't go down because the 3 in the relegation zone are that much worse than us. But this is embarrassing, man. Can't go on like this anymore. I can't be arsed. Yes, man. Levy's puppet. Low wage. Perfect for this football club. Good enough for the Australian League. Good enough for the Japanese League. Good enough for the Scottish League. Nowhere near good enough for the Premier League. Goodbye.
I mean, that's at the moment, that is all true. That is all true. There's no denying all of that, because that is the situation. I do think it won't be, but it is right now. So I can't argue against it right now.
Cody Mack, big up Cody, says, I don't know how people can watch that tonight and come away thinking we can win the Europa League. Please send some of your drugs to me, thanks. So Cody's waiting for a package from you.
Well, we're in also like the semi-final of a Carabao, and we're playing like this. So, you know, who would have said we would be in that position playing like we are? But I just think we can. I think we're a good team set up for two-legged ties in knockout competition. I really believe we can be good in those situations, especially come when the knockouts come. If we are in the top 8, hopefully. That'll be come March, and we could be in a very different look. We could be the situation. Things change very quickly in football, and we could be in a completely different situation come March in terms of form, momentum, and where we're playing. And then all of a sudden, and also Europa League. I know there are some good teams in it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I do think there are also some very beatable teams who we can beat up until maybe the latter stages. So yes, playing like that, we're not going to win Europa League, but it could be a very different situation come March. I really believe that. And I've seen enough when we are playing well that we can cause teams a lot of trouble. We can blow teams away, and that's perfect for knockout football, blowing teams away over 2 legs.
So are we going to win the Europa League?
I don't know if we will, but I think we've got a chance, yeah. I do believe we've got a chance. I'm not ruling it out, 100%. I'm not ruling it out.
Andrew Gaffney says, I know the reaction won't be reasonable and the usual suspects will drag up the form, not the injuries, but based on this game alone, I thought both teams were pretty even over 90 minutes, not sharp enough in the final third, much improved after the break, but the damage was done. I mean, I don't know what game he was watching if he thinks both teams were pretty much even over the course of 90 minutes.
I don't think it was an even game. Arsenal were better, but I also didn't think Arsenal were anything special. I thought they were better than us.
But that's even worse. That's even worse when you're saying that Arsenal weren't anything special, but still clearly better than us.
Yeah, they were better than us because they're a better defensive unit. Then it's no surprise they're one of the best defensive units in the league. I Maybe I'm being harsh because I don't think they're anything special going forward, but I actually did think they were pretty good in midfield and in defence. I actually think they did play well, so I probably didn't give enough credit for that because I thought they actually played really good in those aspects. And they are a better team than us. They've, been going with Arteta for many more years, and they've built something a lot better than what we've built so far for over 18 months. That's for sure. But for sure, in the final third, they weren't great in the final third, to be honest. And obviously, the goals they scored both were extremely preventable. Both those goals. So it's not like they did anything special to score. I did think in the final third, both teams were not great in the final third.
Yeah, I mean, that's clearly been Arsenal's problem for, since pretty much Saka's been out, because he's the guy that's bailed them out a lot. And, you would think you could probably make an argument about Romero and Van de Ven as well, but, you've seen Spurs not do well with Romero and Van de Ven there as well. But, I mean, if Saka was playing yesterday, then it probably would have been a very different story.
Yeah, but I think we could all play that game. I think he wasn't, and that's only one player missing from their front line, and they just didn't look great going forward, I thought.
Luca THFC saying it would be a tragedy if Tottenham decided to sack Ange. He is literally playing with 0 fully fit first-choice defenders away at the Emirates with an 18-year-old midfielder at centre-back. What is he supposed to do? 20 years, the same issue. Manager isn't the problem now. They are.
I think at this point, given the form, I wouldn't go as far as say it's a tragedy because it's very sackable form. I just wouldn't sack him personally. I think I would continue with it, and I think the best course of action is give him some new signings and wait till the players come back and then see if he can turn it around. That would be the best course of action. But I wouldn't go as far as say it'd be a tragedy if he was to sack at this point because look at the form. I mean, that is sackable form. There's no two ways about it. I just think it would be the wrong decision. But I can understand if they think it would be the right decision.
LETHFC saying these are the positives: Archie Gray, Lucas Bergvall, Jed Spence and Richarlison.
Yeah, I agree.
Richarlison's got a start, by the way, at Everton.
Against his old club. Do you saw him on the left or up front? He came on the left.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think up front, because I just want to give Solanke a bit of a rest. I think we're just overplaying him. He's running on empty a little bit.
And then does he start again against Hoffenheim?
That's a good point. I didn't take into account the Hoffenheim game. It is a massive game. Yeah, hopefully we have a new signing by then, but I don't know. Probably not. Or even a new signing can't play against Hoffenheim, to be honest.
Yeah, true.
I don't know. I don't know where we go, but I think both Sonny and Solanke and Kulusevski all need to be taking out the firing line.
We just can't afford to take them all out the firing line.
Maybe. Well, I think Mikey Moore starts on Thursday.
That's such a big game, does he?
I would. Well, what's the difference? Like, these players aren't performing anyway, so what's the difference?
Yeah, true.
James Moore says only twice in the Premier League history of Spurs won fewer than 24 points from their first 21 games: 97, 98, 08, 09. That's incredible when you consider how awful Spurs were for most of the 90s.
Yeah, that's true. Back to the 90s. You want our Tottenham back?
Sam says, to be honest, 13 feels like the direction the club would have headed in years ago if it not for Kane and Son.
Yeah, we went through that.
Ben Bowman says, Spence, Gray, Bergvall hold your heads up high. That's about all the good things I can say. Didn't see anywhere near enough fight from most of those players. Solanke and Decky have been run into the ground and were so poor. This squad needs help. It's not good enough and knackered. Awful. Yeah,
I agree with that. We need help massively, and we're halfway through the month. We need to start getting moving in this window because the games are not letting up. We've still got loads. How many games have we got before the end of Jan?
4.
That's four important games. We need to start getting some players through the door.
Yeah, let's have a look. We've got Hoffenheim, Leicester, Elfsborg. 3 games. We got Brentford the 2nd of Feb.
Then straight off the Feb it's Brentford and Liverpool, and then Villa. Some massive games. Like, we just need help here.
BLTHFC. Luca THFC says another season, another top 4, and no trophies for Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. Good win for their top 4 push. We will instead be focusing on our treble since we're still in all the cups.
Come on.
Embarrassing, man.
BLT. Believe.
Huh?
Winning the treble.
BLTHFC says Romero, Udogie and Van de Ven coming back to doesn't change the fact that we play a system so reliant on width with wingers that can't beat their man. If anything, Odebear is the one that we need back the most, and none of us know if he's any good. Shambles.
Yeah, as I've said, I think the wingers are really letting us down at the moment, in just terms of they're just not doing their job. And I think Odebear would have helped a bit, but I don't think he's the what you call it, the saviour of our problems. Like, we need someone who's got real world-class ability there, and we just don't have it at the moment.
Odebear is a 19-year-old kid who had one good season for Burnley. You know what I mean? Exactly. Not even like a season to blow anyone away, like a decent season for Burnley. And like, if he's going to be the guy that we're all pining our hopes for to really get us playing Ange ball and in a way that he wants us to and save our season, then I'm sorry, whoever those guys are completely deluded.
No, he's not the saviour. We need a proper winger, like someone proper, which we don't have. Like, at the moment, we have wingers who can do certain things, but they can't do the most important thing, which is when they're asked to create chances in those situations, they just don't do it.
Seb Martin says, individual mistake costing our story of our season. It's honestly just pathetic at times watching this lot. So infuriating. That Bissouma mistake nearly had my TV out of the window. Kinski has to save it. Played ourselves out of the game. We don't come from behind at the Emirates.
Yeah, that's the most frustrating thing, I think, yesterday. And yeah, it's frustrating. I know we weren't good, but the goals we conceded are just so frustrating, that those goals, how they went in. It's not like there was any quality really from Arsenal on either of them. It's just self-inflicted, both goals. Yeah. So annoying.
Spurs Web saying, my captain. I'm sure they tweeted that as just after the goal went in. George Achilles says, wasn't expecting much today, but I'm just so disappointed in the effort in some of the players. No urgency either, so slow.
Yeah, and that was also a problem. There were some occasions where we had like a chance to really go at Arsenal when they were on the back foot, and we just slowed it down and just allowed Arsenal to get back in position. And it's always so much easier for them when they do that.
Craig Mitch says 11 defeats in January, and this manager hasn't even got one win over Arsenal in 2 seasons. He's blatantly not that guy. End of the season, we need to get rid and start again.
And that might be the case. And I think that if at the end of the season that's the situation, then we do. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying right now we should stick with it.
Johnny Blaine, I mean, we've kind of covered that. Let's go to Jack Pitbrook, who says, strange thing about that game is, given Arsenal could have scored a lot, is that Spurs actually had enough openings to nick an equaliser, but looks like Kulusveski and Solanke are running on empty right now. Never had the physical edge over Arsenal's excellent centre-backs.
Yeah, and I think the way we play as well, it does rely a lot on, being physically dominant over your opponent, and we just don't have that at the moment. We just can't seem to, especially against a team like Arsenal, just not able to do it. We just don't have that physical profile at the moment in the team.
Spurs Jono says, should never have been 2-1, whatever. That's just how it goes against these lot. Yeah, because it probably should have been more than 2-1.
I think maybe I don't know what he's talking about. Maybe he's talking about half time, but I don't think anyone can really complain about the result. We can complain about certain things, but the result wasn't undeserved.
Talk THFC says 5 points from 27 available, unacceptable. James Moore says Richarlison ended up making more successful crosses than any other Spurs player out there, which was 2, but not convinced that's really what you want from him towards the end of the game. You're losing by 1 goal.
Yeah, you need him in the box. That's the truth. And we didn't. I thought he was on the pitch and he's on the left, and we've got Solanke up front. You've got to swing some balls to that back post, get them 2 competing for it, and we just didn't do that enough. We had some times to swing in. There was at one moment, Porro has a ball on the right hand side to swing in, and he decides to play it down the line to, I think it was, don't know who it was to, but he plays it down the line, and he goes out and play for a goal kick, and instead of swinging in, instead of a chance, it's a goal kick to Arsenal. It's just stupid.
Spurs Watch, the mentality of our senior players has been pathetic today. Solanke, Son, Kulusevski, Porro just moping around. Archie Gray, on the other hand, showing so much maturity and character.
Yeah, we need more players with that kind of mentality that they're showing.
Tottenham Tears says Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall can hold their heads up high with their performances tonight, showing the more experienced players who forget more often than not what playing for Tottenham really means. Yeah, it's pretty much what we've been harping on about all stream. Hotspur Related says captain Son Heung-min has now scored 4 goals in his last 4 away appearances at Arsenal. Hotspur Related says, oh yeah, we've been through that. Spurs Web saying it's disgraceful, the decision.
Yeah, been through that. I think
The pictures that go hard, just one down, is Sonny
Would've gone
shushing
hard
the
if
Emirates.
would've
Exactly, it
result,
would have gone hard, not so hard anymore. Yeah, I think that's it. That is how the internet did react to the 2-1 loss at the Emirates.